Welcome to Live Think Tank. This channel attempts to provide insights on the global economy, legal reforms, and cultural conflicts. It presents observations and develops strategies on how to adapt to the constant changes and receive benefits in your life practice. Do you still need lawyers in the future? And how smart contract may change legal industry? We are going to discuss this very controversial topic today since there is a great deal of hype surrounds blockchain and so-called smart contract. I posted some links below which include several videos made to explain what is smart contract and how to make a smart contract by Solidity, which is a language developed by Ethereum. Briefly speaking, smart contract is a digital agreement. It is written in computer code and stored in blockchain. It is alleged to be self-executed and tamper-proof. This means it can minimize or even eradicates any third party's involvement or interference. The motivation of smart contract is to cut all middlemen and associated costs, whereby improving the certainty, efficiency, and transparency among the contractual parties. Historically, people rely on third parties such as banks and governments to transfer money, check authenticity of the documents, keep records, etc. Smart contract, on the other hand, allows people to trust each other and deal with each other directly without the need for any intermediaries. For example, if you would like to purchase a real estate from a seller in Sydney, you would first have to sign a contract with the seller, pay the deposit to the stakeholder's account, and before settlement, you pay the balance to your solicitor's trust account or ask your bank to issue the checks and bring that to the seller's solicitor's office. And after the transfer is completed, you ask your solicitors to register that transfer at the land title office. With a smart contract, the same procedure can be conducted automatically. You simply enter into a digital agreement of the same terms as the traditional contract, but the difference is those terms will be recorded in the blockchain, and each blockchain users will then help enforce this agreement. The community like Ethereum will help you organize payment, facilitate transfers between accounts, and eventually record your ownership. At the same time, only you and the seller who hold public keys and private keys can have access to the documents. Therefore, the entire system effectively prevents your data from being stolen, deleted, or varied, but at the same time protects your privacy. It also helps reduce the risk of legal dispute. Speaking of legal dispute, just think about how many times have you seen a legal dispute arises where a person denies he has ever signed a contract? Even you manage to produce a copy of the contract, that person might claim that the signature was forged, or he never signed it, or even if it was signed, it was never understood, or it was understood, but the person was misled, or if he was not misled, he just didn't want to pay it. Or he did want to pay it, he just didn't have the money. These practical issues can be resolved to a large extent by a smart contract, simply because everything is recorded in code digit. If there is a breach of the contract, the outcome is immediately delivered. Well, actually, it's predetermined upon execution of that contract. The entire community that recorded the contract will testify and monitor enforcement of the agreement. If that person who breached the contract refused to pay, money in his digit wallet will be transferred anyway to the innocent party's account without any prior consent. This is what we call self-execution. And the truth is lots of people like this brutal simplicity as much as many people hate the inflexibility it may create. Regardless whether you like it or not, the truth is once the technology of a smart contract becomes mature and receives mass adoption, legal drafting can be standardized and customized with much cheaper cost, much less time, and much lower risks. Think about how many times you see a friend went broke because of a lawsuit, how many great businesses got interrupted after enduring court cases, and how many people lost their hardly earned money for nothing. With smart contract, people can avoid unnecessary litigations arising from vague contractual terms and any potential breaches. Well, I'm not saying smart contract is going to resolve all legal disputes. What I'm saying is smart contract at least is going to relieve us from some burdens caused by malicious and meaningless legal actions. You can take it as a shortcut of alternative dispute resolution, if you like. There are, of course, challenges and limitations of smart contract. One of the questions is, who's going to write a smart contract? Apparently, the contract needs to be programmed in digital code. But who can guarantee that you can read these codes? Or these codes actually reflect your intention? Ultimately, you probably need a lawyer and a programmer check between themselves that the smart contract gives you what you really want. Personally, I think this may be a good thing because people will start demanding an intimate cooperation between legal and IT industry. Some people may tend to disagree, as I understand they think computer geek and lawyers are two different creatures, and they can't stand living with each other. I respectfully disagree. I believe, regardless of professions, great minds always think alike. The next challenge is that computer code is always definite and precise to ensure the desired outcome can be delivered. As a result, all uncertainties and ambiguities in a smart contract must be removed. But legal language sometimes is not that simple, especially when it refers to a question of certain extent or degree. For example, it's easy to draft a smart contract with the term saying the buyer will pay the seller $50,000 on 1st of July 2020. But it is difficult to express the term saying the seller will provide the property in reasonable condition and without variation that may be substantially detrimental to the buyer's interest. The question then would be how smart contract can define what is reasonable, what is substantial, and what is detrimental. But other people may argue that with the development of smart contract, technology will evolve, and some traditional legal terms can be translated into digital code. After all problems associated with extent and degree can be described as logical problems, and logical problems can be resolved by mathematics. Since artificial intelligence like AlphaGo has been proved to be more advanced than human mind in resolving complex mathematical problems, we can assume that artificial intelligence plus blockchain technology can draft better contracts than human beings in the future. Another difficulty smart contract may encounter is presented by jurisdiction. You may smoke marijuana in some cities in California, but you may get arrested for doing the same thing in United Kingdoms. Different states, countries, and territories tend to have their own laws. And more often than not, the legislature may prevent you from contracting out of those regional rules. This means if both parties agree to a smart contract with certain clauses contradicting a state's or national legislation, the smart contract may be deemed as illegal or unenforceable, which means you cannot ask a court to give you any relief if you suffer any losses or damages. But I would argue that it may not matter because smart contract is decentralized and it may be independent from any judiciary's decisions. Theoretically, smart contract can disregard those regional rules or regulations, since the digital world can create its own rules. The parties joining the blockchain community don't need to be bound by the traditional legal systems. If a smart contract is regarded as illegal by the Supreme Court of New South Wales, for example, it can still be performed by Ethereum platform, and Ethereum community will deliver the justice if required. Dethroning the existing legal system is a very attractive thought to libertarians. The problem is that as long as you live in a physical sphere, you are bound by a law that has jurisdiction over its territory. For instance, people can certainly buy and sell real estates using smart contract disregarding any applicable property laws, but as long as the property is still in a geographic area, it can be taken away by law enforcement simply because the law can prevail over your liberty of disposing that property. Despite some difficulties and limitations, the advantages of smart contract far outweigh the shortcomings. With the decentralized infrastructure provided by blockchain, smart contract will keep evolving. Besides, by using so-called object-oriented programming, you may connect smart contracts together. This means smart contract can not only be independent, but also correlated. Each contract can serve for one purpose, and all contracts can work together to achieve a common object. Think about construction subcontracting, collateral lending, managed investment funding, and so much more. Smart contract can blow your mind as to how much programmatic value it may create. It's time for conclusion. It is my belief that smart contract may be groundbreaking and game-changing instrument that transforms the entire legal industry. Certain practices such as conveyancing may be reduced to automation, and legal costs will definitely be reduced. However, you may still need a lawyer to help you write and explain a smart contract due to the technical and legal complexities I just discussed. But as an average consumer, you definitely will live with a much easier life. To lawyers, the demand for legal services may decline, and this is a good thing, because lawyers can take on larger portfolios of works with lower risks. And lawyers can focus more on the real legal issues, work more closely with their clients, and delegate the time-consuming drafting works to computers, programmers, or even artificial intelligence. And professionals equipped with expertise in blockchain technology will be rewarded. It is my belief that right now, law firms that can accumulate experience in ICO offering and DAO governance will gain a competitive edge over their rivals. So if you are a lawyer, you might wish to work for a company that develops blockchain technology. It is going to be a fascinating and rewarding experience for the years to come. And my final tips for lawyers: watch out, someone is going to replace your jobs one day. So why not stop paper chase? Start block chase now. That's all for today's video. I hope you can enjoy it. Please feel free to subscribe and let me know your thoughts on this controversial topic. Otherwise, I will see you next time.